Welcome to RPA. In this video, we'll talk about how to fill dynamic form or how to automate dynamic form using Microsoft Power Automate Desktop. So before proceeding further, I wanted to show you magic where complete form will be filled in fraction of seconds. So this is RPA challenge website. By using Power Automate Desktop, I will fill 10 iterations of this form in very quick snap. Now, first I will run this, show you the result, and post that we'll start building this process very quickly. Now, automation started. Here you can see it started filling the form with first name, last name, company name, role in company, address, email, and phone number. This will perform 10 times because in my Excel file, I have added 10 records. So it's very quick enough if you wanted to perform these operations to use Power Automate Desktop because within a fraction of seconds, this will complete for 10 iterations. When we are assigning this work any human user who is working for 8 hours in a day, probably this will be a very difficult task for him to complete it because it will consume a lot of time for him to at least fill those forms, and this is a repetitive task. So it's always suggested to assign to robot. So this is a 6 iterations which is performing without any interventions. This form will be filled very intelligently. And once the form is filled, we will see the final result and the bot will stop processing. So this is the 8 iterations. So without any mistake, it keeps trying to add all those details in very quick off. So we'll see after that how to build this flow from scratch. Now it's done. Our bot stopped processing. Let's start building this flow from scratch so that you will be able to understand how we have implemented it. Before proceeding further, I wanted to show you input file which I have created it for this development process. Here you can see I've added first name, last name, company name, role in company, address, email, and phone number. So to differentiate it, I've added sequence number for each of the flows. LX1, left 1, LX2, left 2, LX3, and left 3. Exactly same way, company with ending number, so 1 to 10, and the rule in company. So make it simpler as well as differentiate it. I've added some random data. This is my complete flow which I built it. I will start deleting it. We'll delete it. I will create it, everything from scratch. Now, to start with any Power Automate flow, you have to just click on New Flow. Once you click on New Flow, you will see this build a flow pop-up message appear. Here, you have to define the flow name and click on Create. I already did it, so that's the reason I can claim. But for you, you have to click on Create. To start with this for, I want to launch browser. I wanted to perform these actions in Chrome. Here, we'll get two options. One with launch mode, that is new instance, and attach in running instance. So what does it means? Launch new instance will launch a new instance, and attaching a running instance, it means whenever your browser is already open, you can use these options. Here we have to provide the URL. We will copy the URL from here and paste into this. Windows state as of now we are keeping normal because this browser is opening always in full screen. But if any browser is opening either in minimized or maximum stage, so you can select other options according to your need. Wait for page to be loaded. I will enable this. You can also select if your page contains cache and cookies to be clear. By default, or automate itself create a variable to store the instance. Here, my variable name is browser. I will click on save. Similar way, we have to also launch Excel file. I want to launch from documents. That's the reason I will select here the document name. Even you can also select variable if you wanted to store the complete file path in variable, which is much more convenient. I don't want to make this instance visible, otherwise whenever automation will trigger, this will keep your Excel file visible to the execution. Here, we are not going to write anything. That's the reason I wanted to enable read only mode. In advanced options, we don't have anything to add. That's the reason I'm skipping that part. And where we will produce is Excel instance, which we will utilize it for the actions. Now, in next options, I want to add get first free rows or columns from Excel. Here, it will produce first free columns and first free row as a variable. Whenever we are working on any Excel file, either you have to delete all those, otherwise it will show that part as well. That's the reason we are calling out. Now, next is read Excel. Actions will be needed. Read the complete data and store into the variable, which can be used it for iterating. Whenever you drag and drop, you'll see Excel instance right there, the value in a single set or values from a range of cells. In our case, we are going to use values from a range of cells. So start column will be A and row will be 1. End column. So in this case, we wanted to provide Excel free column -1, and for end row, I wanted to add here as -1 so that we will get accurate output. As of now, here it will auto create Excel data as a variable, which we will use it for iteration. So this is done for one of the instance, and here we'll use for each iterate it and populate those values in sequence. Iterations I wanted to use as Excel data, and that will store into the current item. Next, because this is text box which we are going to fill it, here we'll use web form filling, that is populate text field on a web page. It will auto take instance. After that, we have to provide UI elements because I'm going to use this for first name. So first here, whenever you will see two options. One with label and second with input text. And even you will expand, you will see the divisions. Because I wanted to fill this value here, I will just hover at this part. Just press Ctrl and left key. That selectors will be added successfully. In terms of informations, which informations you wanted to fill here. Now, because this is Excel data, it will capture. After that, in Power Automate, here will give exactly the column name which I wanted to fill in this. Now, this is done. Close square bracket and let me run it and then see the result. If that works, then probably we'll proceed it further. In advanced options, we have popular text using physical keystrokes. I want it disabled here. Wait for page to be loaded, and these two is enabled. That's fine. Let me run it, and after that, I wanted to close Excel and browser both. So once this will be done, we will iterate it for other. Close Excel is here. Now we are ready to execute the process. We'll definitely get an error here. I will explain you how and why, how we can fix it. Now first it will launch the URL and then it will try to search for the fields to be filled because this is a dynamic page. That's the reason it will always show a different name here. Let me show you the reason. While taking this into the considerations, we have to just what kind of range contains column names. We have to enable it, and then we have to click on save. Otherwise, we'll get an error. Let me run it and then see the result. To start at the executions, it will try to find out the locator, but it won't find it out because of the dynamic ID in nature. And here you can see exactly same which I was suspecting. Now, when we have inspected this element of first name, that time it took ID of KEH2D. But when we are executing second time, what happens? It's generated a different ID that we can see it in inside the inspect elements. So this was the first instance. However, initially it was having a different. Let me try to show you ID how the ID got changed. Here you can see ID was NOHHK. Every time whenever we are launching this, we always have different ID. So it means selectors modifications will be required. So in Power Automate, how we can modify selectors, we'll see here in detail. To search for the selector, simply click on this and here you'll find input text. As a part of best practices, always rename the selector whichever you're using. So here I wanted to just give first name so that whenever you are returning back, you can remember it. Now I saved it, the selector. I wanted to modify the selector so that whenever the execution start, we will get a proper result. Now edit this. Either I will double click or you can click on edit. You will get these options. For editing, you have two options. Either we can follow this tree structure or navigate into the editor. Instead of ID, we'll use some different identifier. How and which identifier will work perfectly fine? Let me explain you. In this case, if you can see here, when I'm inspecting any element for the first name, every time the ID got changed, but this label is having exactly same name. So what we will do, we'll just copy this label. So here we'll copy this complete path and then paste it to this place in between input. Now, whenever it will run, it will try to search for label first name and then try to enter these values. So in this case, let me show you other options we have named. Name is also having dynamic in nature. That's why we cannot use it. For other automations cases, you might find it out not name is unique every time. So in that case also, you can use some different parameters. Class is also a better options. Otherwise, we can always use XPath and all other characters. But in this case, this will work for me. Let me execute it, show you the result, and post that we'll start implementing it for other input character. Now it will try to search for the field, enter the value, and it will start entering those value. You can see unless and until this figure is not completed from the Excel, it will keeps adding the value in loop and post that it will close the Excel and browser code and do the quit options. Next actions I wanted to perform it for last name. So we'll use this value for rest other fields. So here, let me paste it for 4 or 5 times so that we can modify it for each of those fields. This time I wanted to do the modification for the last name. So first I will change the UI elements, navigate it to the last name field, exactly same way control plus left key. Here I wanted to provide the last name value. So exactly same column name which we are using in Excel, otherwise we might get an error. So that's perfect. And I wanted to modify the selector as well. So this is a selector which is generated. I want to just rename it as a last name. So when you put it on mine, I can remove for this. For editing, here will again enable text editor. And because I wanted to inspect the element, here we'll have inspect element name. So just copy and paste it. Now this is done for the last name. Next option is role in company, phone number, address. Let me modify it first and the fields. Then we'll modify the selector. So here, this time I want to take out the company name. This is the company name. Take the UI elements. Save it. Next is role in company. We'll exactly copy the same text so that there is no error at the time of execution. Role in company UI elements. This is perfect. Next is address. Leave it. Next item is email and then phone number. This time I wanted to modify it for phone number. That's done. Let's modify it the selectors. Now, if I wanted to select for the company name, so company name is 8HY. So this is my selector. Let me rename it. So this is my company name. Perfect. It, now, next is ACHPI. So that is for role in company. Let me modify it. Here you can see label rule when we are inspecting the elements. So because I've already used it, these selectors, that's the reason it was showing here. So but in this case, if I wanted to remove unused UI elements, it will delete unused one. So whichever is used, that elements is available. So it will be easy for me to do the modifications. So this one is for my company name. This is for role in company. So let me rename it first and then we'll modify the selectors. Next is for address. Next one is for email and for phone number. That's perfect. Now let's modify company name select. So whenever I wanted to do the company name, first I will go to this, take out the label name exactly same like, let me inspect it. So I want to modify this. Editor, remove this exactly same like last two one, and that's got updated. Next is role in company. So here again, I want to go for role in company, get their selector, copy it and paste into the selector folder. Next is for address. Email. And finally, for phone number. Even you can see here, this form is changing the locations. So whenever I will refresh, you can see the location also got changed. In that case also, this will work perfectly fine. Next actions I want to perform the submit operation. So here I will select click activities. In this, click link on a web page where I will select UI elements, and for UI elements, I wanted to go for submit button. It's a left click, but you will also get other options. If your form contains any other clicks, you can select it from this. For submit buttons, it will just check for input submit button, perform the actions, and probably that will works perfectly fine. Now, let me run it and show you the result now. Execute the process. This time it will work perfectly fine. First, it will launch, then start filling the value. You can see it's filling exactly in the same positions, whichever in the order. Submit, then it will start filling the second value, LX2, left to, manager to, Google to, India to, LX2 at the gmail.com, and the phone number. Even if the positions change, it will go to the exactly fields and fill out the. Until and unless the value is not done, it will keep filling the form without any hurdle. This is the last value which is trying to fill, and post that it will close both Excel and Google Chrome. Now this automation is completed, and here you can also see in each of the variable all data is filled or stored. So that is how we can automate any form filling or repetitive task actions with the help of Power Automate. That's all from this video. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you think so this will be useful, don't forget to share within yourself. Thank you for watching.